Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. Your course Honorable Police Chief APGAINS. Today we're talking about the auxiliary teams for GAC. Now, we all know our core teams and our backbone and our GLs and our ships. But to win GACs, you got to have some extra oomph, a little sauce on the side. Auxiliary teams, right? And what we're doing is a series on all of the different teams in the game. The core teams, the backbones, the ships, the GLs. And today's episode, the auxiliary, leading up into our announcement for our 3-year farming guide. We've updated some stuff. We've changed some stuff a little bit around. Not too crazy, don't worry. But more importantly, we've added that 3rd year of farming on. We've done some research, bunch of accounts, see what worked, see what didn't work, give you the best possible 1, 2, and 3-year journey in Galaxy of Heroes. And then what I'm going to try to do is either find a graphic designer or just hire one to make the graphics super cool and fun and awesome, so it's a little bit easier on the eyes. So if any of you guys do graphic design or anything like that, ping me on Discord or something. But today's video, the auxiliary teams, the extra special Chick-fil-A sauce, if you will, that pulls everything together. Now, of course, we have the Triumvirate, and this is pre-Treya Omicron and pre-Savage Omicron. So I slotted in Savage. He's a great character, great Omicron. Treya's Omicron helps out because she doesn't need to be the leadership, but especially early game, this is one of the most important auxiliary teams that there is. I always used to say, what's the most important Zeta? The Zeta you have when you unlock Darth Treya, because there are so many teams that attack out of turn, and in the early GP areas, a lot of times you don't really have a counter to that. And if you have a character who basically just says, okay, attack out of turn, and you die, and then one Scion or Nihilus AoE and you're dead, and we're all Gucci, it's a fantastic auxiliary team to have. Situational, but very, very, very important. Next, of course, we have the boys in blue, or the boys in black and gold and gray and other colors. But long may there be an argument that it should be a 9-pack, a core 9 teams, because this team is just so good on offense and doesn't require a ton of investment. Now, they didn't crack the core 8 because 8 is a better number than 9, and also there's no defensive viability here, but they're definitely probably one of, if not the most powerful auxiliary teams, and definitely a team that you guys should be picking up because it's a low investment, low gear, low Zeta, blah, 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 blah. That's why they're early in the farming guide. That's why they're one of the most powerful auxiliary teams. Tons of turn meter, tons of offense, helps you punch up. You could fight a Darth Revan. You could fight anything that you can go faster than. They're a fantastic team. I don't think anyone is going to argue that the boys in blue or gray or black or whatever assortment of colors they happen to wear, occasionally white on Hoth, the boys are definitely up there. All right, next. We have Quickeny Gym. Obviously, many early and mid-game players aren't going to have Cam. My Cam's not really good enough to add a ton. Maybe I should relic him. Maybe I shouldn't, whatever. But essentially, Qui-Gon with just a bunch of Jedi. And of course, we have 4 Masters and a Sith. As you get it? Oh my God! I was back in the day. I was so funny when I was naming teams. But Qui-Gon Omicron is always in contention for top 3 in terms of when you should apply, depending on what your roster looks like. Obviously, if you're on Patreon and we review your roster offline, or if you're on a stream and we review it live, different accounts need different things depending on what you farmed and blah, blah, blah. But definitely a top 3 Omicron for sure, just because it takes characters that otherwise wouldn't be that great and makes them a powerhouse, both offensively in order to beat strong things and defensively in order to snipe and get holds, which can definitely help in GAC. A fantastic team. I don't think anyone's going to argue this is a top team in the auxiliary. Moving on, the Geos. Everyone knows my love for the Geonosians. Quick update for a lot of you gamer girls. After over 3 years, we have finally favorited a Geonosian and plan to take him to Gear 12. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I know you guys are too. You're like, APGAINS. Oh my God, I can't believe 3 years later, we're getting to the point where our opponent's GP is so fucking high that I just need a little bit more firepower and a little bit more survivability. Not on the Geonosian team, because I'd never use them, but on the Malevolence fleet, and I refuse to 7-star my 5-star, my 2 5-star droid ships. So what we're going to do is we're going to Gear 12 our Geonosian Spy. So for those of you guys out there who have been waiting over 3 years for this moment, it has finally come. A Geonosian is getting love. But this is a team that kind of only exists in the early game. Kind of maybe I'll do a video on the other STD teams, a concept that I haven't brought up in a while. STD, sometimes difficult, where mechanics make it hard to beat, but if you know the mechanics, it's one of the easier teams to beat. So definitely something for those sub 1 million, sub 1.5 to sub 2 million GP accounts, where occasionally if you can bait out some stuff and on the back wall your opponent's just like, ah shit, what am I supposed to do here? A reason why you should have your Treya. Oh my God, auxiliary team is so fun. Iden, boom, girls in blue. Ha ha ha. Get it? Because we had the boys in blue earlier, and then the girls in blue. Wait, did I actually name this team? What I name them? McSuper Fat Cockroach. That's actually pretty good. Oh man, AP gains from the past is so funny. I don't know what happened to AP gains of the future. But girls in blue, yeah, Iden Versio. Now that she has a ship, fantastic character to 7-star and relic. But realistically, this team is just Mon Mothma counter. You can do it against other rebels and stuff like that. Situational, solid on defense if you have enough gear, but on offense, if you slap just a little bit on Iden and maybe just a little bit on Death Trooper or vice versa, you can get, a full auto max banner win against any Mon Mothma, which for some reason, even in higher GPs, you still see on defense. So situational, but definitely effective situationally. We have Bigfoot, we have Wampa. I mean, this is a pretty obvious one. Kind of like SWGOH now, where it's like you slap an Omicron on and you go in for a solo, you press auto, and you just wait, and does a lot of good stuff. I don't think anyone's really going to argue about Wampa being an auxiliary team. He can't fit into a core. He's not a backbone because he's not a team. He's just a Wampa, right? He just exists in and of himself. He does his thing. I would argue as you get higher and higher GP, obviously it scales with relics. Like if he was relic 7, I would say this would be less true, but situational. The thing is less situational because there are more situations where he can be used all over the place, right? Anything that's basically anytime you see something that's blue, you're like, Wampa. Well, if it's blue and a rebel, right? Anytime you see a rebel, you're like, Wampa. And as you scale with GP, I mean, there's a million, there's always just a million random rebel teams. Like sometimes you'll see I wouldn't say CLS. It's a little risky if you have low tenacity, but anything that looks like this, you know what I mean? Like I deleted a bunch of my rebel squads, but any hodgepodge mismatch of blue is generally a pretty safe space to use Wampa. And then last but certainly not least, we kind of have the King Fester. Obviously, a lot of people put Newt Gunray on a Grievous team. This is not going to take in consideration Trench. It's just about putting together the most annoying team possible. And at every different, you're like, APGAINS, I don't have a Relic 5 Ondo. Well, obviously, most people don't. I don't even know why I do. Actually, Afra is fucking awesome. I regret nothing. That being said, this team, right? Oh my god, I can't remember what we used to call it. Years and years, sub 1,000 subscribers. We used to call this. I don't even remember what team we called this, but it was any Newt Gunray, Dooku, Asajj Ventress, Greedo team. We had some. Let me know in the comment section if you're a long time subscriber. You remember what we called this team? But essentially, it's just become the Fester team where, depending on GP and depending on what characters you have, this team is going to look wildly different from GP to GP, from player to player, from account to account. But the goal is just to be really fucking annoying. You know what I mean? Just to get under people's skin. Not only to hold on defense if it's low GP, but just, sometimes you just throw it in and see if it works. And a lot of time it just figures out a way to get the job done. And that's kind of the theme of the auxiliary teams, is they just somehow figure out a way to get stuff done at the end of the day. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you. I will love to have you join us for the rest of our farming guide series that will wrap up and conclude with full 3 years of farming. It'll be exciting. Bye-bye.